I need to apologize to you because I think reincarnation might be real.
Ah.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, okay. You finally realized it.
The shit might be real, dude.
I'm excited about this, and I want to know if this is a joke or not.
No,
I'm very excited.
It's coming from him.
I mean, I don't know what's going on, okay? I'm not going to be over here being like, yo, this shit is real, but I watched this show on Netflix called Surviving Death, episode 6. It basically goes through like all this like paranormal, like metaphysical weirdo shit where it's like, are mediums real? They interview a medium, they talk to a skeptic, yada, yada. And then episode 6 is about children that have past lives.
Ooh.
Bro.
I've heard about these. I've heard
some of the shit in here.
Nuts.
Some of the shit in here was wild. So
I told you, bro.
So
you got to see my lady.
I want to do that actually.
You've been saying it. Go do it.
I have no idea what her info is. You
I
asked
sent you
one
the-
time about that breathwork lady. I connected you over email. You never responded.
I did.
I asked multiple times. You're like, stop asking me about this lady. You've never given me a number.
I'm pretty sure I gave you her email.
You didn't
pretty
do
sure
nothing.
I did.
You didn't do nothing. Look, find the text message.
Did you ask my sister?
Don't gaslight me.
AKA my wife. Nah, I love it.
It's wild. So there's a couple cases that they go through in this thing, okay? The two that stuck out to me, this shit blew my mind, all right? So
You
there's
see how he added, no, I love my wife, just in case somebody sniffs that out and sends it to me?
Yeah.
You gotta always stay ahead of it.
Yeah.
No, you gotta always stay ahead of it. I love my wife. But anyway, so look,
I do.
there's this guy, Ryan Hammond. He's like a 5-year-old kid
love
born
my
in
wife. Who's
Oklahoma.
this guy?
Ryan Hammond. He's born in Oklahoma, okay?
Okay.
He's growing up in the middle of Oklahoma. His dad's like a cop. His mom is like a kindergarten teacher or some shit. He's 5 years old, and they're like watching videos and shit on TV, and all of a sudden they see the Hollywood sign. He goes, oh, that's where I live. And the mom's like, what are you talking about? You don't live in Hollywood. He goes, no, that's...
I feel like you spoke about this.
Did I?
Or maybe this was
talked
off
about it
air.
in the kitchen.
Ah, it was off air.
Oh, yeah. I was telling you.
Okay, good.
So he was like, oh, yeah, I used to live there in Hollywood. And they're like, what? And he was like, yeah, that's where I used to live. And so they start kind of talking about it, and they're like, oh, what else did you used to do? And starts giving all these specific details, like, well, I had kids, and I bought my daughter a dog. And they just thought it was, like, funny. And then they end up, like, he ends up getting really obsessed with, like, Hollywood shit. So they buy, like, these old Hollywood books. And they start going through all these old Hollywood books, and they find, like, different pictures, and they're like, oh, she's a great actress. And they just think it's like a kid, just like doing kid shit. And then they get to one specific picture and they go, that's my friend. And this is, again, a 5-year-old kid. The mom is like, what are you talking about? They're like, that's my friend. He's a cowboy and he sells cigarettes. And the mom was like, what? And then he points to someone in the back of the picture and goes, and that's me. And the mom was like, what are you talking about? So at this point, the mom gets a hold of a researcher at the University of Virginia that studies children that have what they call past life, like regressions, or kids with past lives. And the actual academic goes over to like start researching the kid and like taking logs of all of his life shit and all the stuff he claims. And literally, they start going through, they have a person that goes through and does all the research on the picture. They find the guy that he claims that he is. And it's this guy named Marty Martins. Marty Martins was an old Hollywood agent in like the 30s or 40s that was making like movies out in Hollywood, right? There's no information on him on the internet at all. And so they start going through claims and they like basically print out his whole life and like a bunch of pictures of him, and they start asking the kid questions. They take like 4 photos of women and they're like, do any of these women like stand out to you at all? The 5-year-old kid is like, I know her. I love her. And the picture that he picked was the picture of his ex-wife. Or no, the picture of his last wife before he died.
Wow.
They go, do any of these photos of these homes look familiar? They go, that's where I live. And then they do like 6 different iterations about personal details about his life.
That's
went 6 for 6. Crazy. And then they take a claim of like, basically they take like 150 claims.
What does say about that one, bro?
We got to ask him. I don't know.
What does he say about that one?
They do
bro?
150 claims, this researcher. He's like, okay, what else do you believe? What else do you see? He's like coming out of dreams and like talking about stuff that he saw in dreams. And he's like, oh, well, this thing, monograms, there's like, my name was on all my clothes, stuff like that. And then they go to the family. They're actually able to reach the family. Again, none of this information is public on the internet. They go to the family and they're like, are these things true? He basically gets like 60% of them to be true. And then like the other like 30 or 40% were unverifiable. And so and then there was like 5 to 10 things that were just outright wrong. But the majority of them were true. And some of them were so specific. They asked like, hey, like, did you die? He goes, yeah, I died. And how did you die? Or when did you die? And he goes, oh, I was 61 years old. And they look at
That's crazy.
This is the crazy thing. They look at the death certificate. And again, this is all from an academic. This is not like some mom that's talking about it. Like a researcher wrote it all down. And they were like, oh, well, we looked at the death certificate. He died actually when he was 59. So you were wrong about that one. And then they actually went through the records of when he was actually born from his birth certificate. and they found out that he actually died at 61.
Wow.
He apparently knew shit that the family didn't even know. So he was like, oh yeah, I had a younger sister that died when I was younger. And they asked the actual guy, Marty Martin, the Hollywood agent, his daughter. They were like, did you know your dad had a younger sister? And she goes, no, I didn't know that. And they went through the family history, like the genealogy, and they found one younger sister that passed away when she was like 4.
Holy shit.
Crazy.
All right, guys, we're going to take a break from this exclusive Patreon clip to talk about fume. Look, you see this, what I'm doing right here? Some of you use a different product in your hands and it's killing you. It's causing lung cancer, emphysema, COPD, God knows what else, heart disease. It is a killer. And instead of trying to quit that habit cold turkey, why don't you just replace the product in your hands with a fume? Fume is an innovative, award-winning flavored air device that uses flavored air instead of vapor, instead of electronics. It's completely natural. And instead of harmful chemicals, fume uses delicious flavors. So you see what I'm saying? Instead of being bad, fume is good. It is a habit you are free to enjoy that makes replacing that bad habit easy. Again, you don't want to quit cold turkey. Most people don't make it doing that. This is much easier. And what's also cool, this fume comes with an adjustable airflow dial. It's designed with movable parts and magnets for fidgeting. A lot of us are a little fidgety because we're probably on our phones all day watching episodes of Flagrant. Don't stop doing that. But it's nice to give your hands something to do. It's well weighted. It's a beautiful little, look at that. Look at that, mahogany. I don't know woods, but that looks fantastic. Tastes great, like a refreshing herbal tea. Guys, this is the way to go. Looks beautiful, tastes great, feels wonderful, and they also just released a magnetic air stand for you. So there's no more losing it around the house. You just put it on the stand, boom, there you go. So start the year off right with the good habit by going to tryfume.com/flagrant. That is tryfum.com/flagrant, and get the journey pack today. And Fume is giving listeners of this clip, this show, 10% off when they use the code FLAGRANT to help make starting the good habit that much easier. Now let's get back to this exclusive Patreon clip. If you want the full episode, go to patreon.com/flagrant or flagrant2. We got both domains. $5 a month, you get an extra episode a week. It's $1.25 an episode, sometimes $1 depending on the month. Sign up, guys. Join the asshole army. Now let's get back to it.
This documentary blew my mind. I was like, what is going on? Is it possible the parents are like fucking infiltrating this kid's brain to like trick him?
There's Reddit threads on this that, even as a guy who believes in reincarnation, creep me out. Like, they're fucking creepy.
Have you ever heard other stories like this? Like
Tiki Wiki, they go through every couple of years and they'll just find a segment where like a Reddit thread pops up and it'll just be people talking about their kids saying like, oh yeah, I did when I was 5 years old, blah, blah, blah. Or he's 5 years old and they, oh yeah, I've been here. And they're like, no, we haven't.
Weird,
like,
right?
yeah, no, before I was born. And it's just like accurate shit, and it's crazy. But this is the most detailed one I've ever heard.
There's another one that's even more detailed. I'll keep it brief. But basically, this kid wakes up in the middle of the night screaming, having nightmares of plane crashes. Again, he's like 5 or 6 years old, and the parents are like, what's going on? And he's like, I'm stuck in the plane. I'm on fire. I'm stuck in the plane.
Holy shit.
And they're like, what? And it's like really traumatic. They take him to a child psychologist. Again, all of this is documented. This happened in like the 2000s. So this is like early 2000s. The internet is like just kind of like popping off. So we're assuming none of this was like research. And they start going through, they ask the kid, like, oh, what do you mean? He's like, I was in a plane crash. And they're like, who shot you? And they're like, the red flag, the circle on the red circle on the flag. And they're like, the Japanese flag? They showed him the Japanese flag. He's like, that's who shot me.
Holy fuck.
And then they were like, okay, that's crazy. They're like, where were you? He was like, I was on a ship. And what was the name of the ship? He knew the name of the ship. So the dad calls up the same psychologist and he's like, what's going on? And they research the ship and they have two pieces of information, the name of the ship, and they go, did you have any friends on the ship? He goes, yes, Jack Larson. And they go, who's Jack Larson? He goes, oh, he's my best friend. Before I was here, before I was born, he was my best friend. And they're like, what? So then they look at the records of the ship. There was basically one ship that was in Iwo Jima in Japan during World War II, and there was a guy on the ship named Jack Larson. And here's the craziest thing. So before they even do all the research, he's drawing pictures of all these plane crashes, just drawing them, and he's always signing them James the Third. James the Third, James 3, James 3. It's literally his name and then the number 3. They're like, why are you signing it James 3? And he goes, I'm the third James. And they're like, what does any of this mean? They do the research, they go through the records, they find that there was a guy named Jack Larson on this boat in Iwo Jima during World War II that had gunfire with the Japanese. And then they go through it and they find a name in the record, and it's one person that died of the entire platoon, the entire squadron, for the entirety of the deployment of that ship. One guy that died, and his name was like James Murdaugh Jr.
Oh, fucking
And that would make
dude.
This kid,
James
his name's
the Third.
also James. His name is James the Third. Wow. How and they were like, this is insane. So they went to Japan in like 2003, and like they basically did like sending off, the parents were like, the only way to get over this, because he keeps on having nightmares. The kid is like traumatized.
Yeah.
They're basically like, okay, you're going to say goodbye to James Jr. Like, you're going to say goodbye. We were at the place that he died, and we're just going to say goodbye to him once and for all. And the kid's like weeping on this boat. Then they get off the boat, and the kid's fine. And then apparently all of his like dreams and stuff stopped from after they got back from Japan.
Wow.
So weird.
That's crazy.
Your kid has bad dreams, so you gotta go to Japan.
Yeah, that helps.
Fucking nightmare.
It helps
Miles,
a little
do you
bit.
believe this? Because I know you're kind of skeptical. Yeah. What's
But like,
your,
what is happening? Like, why?
I'm
are the-
obviously easily sold.
Are the parents like injecting thoughts into these kids' minds, being like, "Oh, like this is who you are," and like they're like fucking with them?
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know. I imagine there's like a fair amount of, like you could probably like build a story off of like what your kid's saying and sort of like once you get one breadcrumb, lean into it. And like, I imagine it's easier to connect the dots than you think, but
Right.
I'm also just like a big skeptic.
He
on
also
this
got
kind of
some things wrong. Like
Yeah.
both these kids, there's like little things that are wrong, but the vast majority of like their claims, quote unquote,
Yeah.
seem to be correct.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'd have to. Well, I'm just a big skeptic in the sense that I'm like,
I'm positive I'll get shit about my own life wrong.
Exactly. I'm
positive.
thinking about
1,000%.
question.
Yeah,
I can't remember half the shit I did yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I don't know. It
I
was
bet the
cool.
women remember everything.
yeah. Probably. Remember everything about everyone.
Insane. Yeah.
It was very cool sending. I'll watch Doc. Like,
I'm just watching. I'm like, there's got to be something going on.
Wait, so you don't believe in anything afterlife, reincarnation?
I like to like believe in it in the way that it when it's convenient. Like if something's sad.
That's honest.
Yeah, like if something's sad and someone tragically dies and they believe in the afterlife, I'm like, yeah, I hope they made that to whatever the fuck that is for them. That's awesome. But no, I don't generally.
What do you think happens to you when you die?
I think it's just over. Just fucking.
Just goes black.
Yeah, you don't remember before you were born. You probably don't remember.
Some people
after.
do.
I mean, some people do. Apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I've never really. I'm also just like not. I wish I was more. What's the word? Not religious, but like spiritual. I'm just not.
People always say
That's
I
why you
wish
gotta do
I was.
shrooms, dude.
Yeah, I know. I want to do shrooms. That's on the 2024.
I did shrooms a couple times now. So fun.
Did you see Michael Bublé showed up to the NHL
On shrooms?
So
All-Star
awesome,
game?
dude.
You see this?
Oh, I thought you meant when I did shrooms, so I see Michael Bublé.
No.
That would have been fucking sweet.
That'd have been awesome.
I
You
did
see him
3
at the-
grams recently. Good dose.
That's a
I want to do it.
lot.
Yeah. Didn't have any therapeutic shit, but the colors were fucking.
But
lit.
you were like walking around and like having fun, right?
Oh, it's so fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
I've heard
Were
of
you been
people.
at home or where?
did it at home once. I also did it in Amsterdam with some homies, and you're just laughing more than you've ever laughed at anything in your
I've
life.
heard from people that like if you're doing things and like actively moving around, it tends to be less therapeutic, but it can be just like super fun and like freeing.
Yeah, we were just laying down watching a Bollywood movie. I was laughing. I was
really?
like, this is so fucking cool.
Oh,
Like
that's
the
hilarious.
colors are nuts.
Yeah, I want to do it. That's like 2020. I have it written down. Like do shrooms.
Any anxiety? Was there anything that like freaked you out?
No, well, I don't think so. I think I was okay throughout the whole thing because I think I talked to you about it enough times that I'm like, it's fine. This is, there might be some anxiety, but it's gonna pass.
Yeah.
I have heard a bad shroom trip can fuck you up, which just scare me.
Yeah.
But
You hear that girl fucking stabbed her boyfriend 100
How
times?
crazy is that,
There's this girl.
bro?
She stabs her boyfriend 103 times or something and gets 100 days of community service.
why?
Because
There's more. She stabs her boyfriend 108 times,
Stabs
stabs
the dog
herself,
and
and
the dog.
stabs the dog.
That's I could never.
so it's so funny. I've
The
told
police
this story.
show up. She's
the
covered
dog
in
is where
blood.
I'm really
It's so
upset.
funny. I've told this story to multiple people, and I've told them, yeah, they stabbed the boyfriend 100 days, whatever. They're
Oh.
like, that bitch is crazy, jokingly. And then I'll be like, and she stabbed her service dog. And they're like, fuck her. Kill her, dude.
You gotta fucking shoot her in the head
It's crazy, dude.
So she.
How do you guys care more about the dog than
because
the
the dog
human?
ain't do nothing.
Dog did nothing wrong.
That
the
is
guy might
true.
have deserved it.
That is true. So
We don't know what he did. He might have been cheating while they were on a break. Who knows?
Dogs are pure love and affection, dude.
That's not cheating. That's not cheating.
That's finding yourself.
Yeah.
Type shit.
Yeah, she might have got some dick there.
Oh,
Might have.
maybe.
But she smoked too much weed and had weed-induced psychosis and then killed him. And then got 100 days community service because she wasn't in her right mind. And apparently he had like pressured her to smoke more weed and she had said no, which I was like sort of
Who
one-sided.
can verify that?
Yeah, well, sort of one-sided conversation.
Yeah.
Was the dog able to like take
Yeah.
stand?
Well, that was a good defense, though.
Dog is dead too, right?
No, I think the dog might have survived.
Yeah, I think the dog made it.
Yeah.
Thank God.
And it was like a butter knife. Like it wasn't even a sharp. It was like a dull fucking knife.
Honestly, that
she's
husband is
sorta
such a
hot.
pussy.
And she's sort of hot.
I'm gonna let this bitch stab me with a butter knife 100 times. I'll knock you out.
No,
yo.
I think she gets a real knife at some point. But
Yeah, but still, like, it's a girl.
you stab me with a butter knife twice, you're getting punched in the fucking jaw. I don't
You
care.
might get one or two.
he was also
hit,
really high.
grab.
He might have been so high.
He could have been super
He's
high
like
also.
desperately high. They're both like incredibly high. She has psychosis induced mania through it.
Yeah, I think we're starting to find out weed is not as harmless as we thought.
Yeah.
It's not. I still don't think it's.
I think it's pretty harmless unless like you have some latent fucking hidden shit.
I realized that shit in college. So like I used to sell, and I used to also make weed brownies, and my shit used to be like super strong. Some would be super weak, some would be strong. You never can really
That's
control
the problem
how.
with the,
yeah. So this girl ate a whole brownie. I told her, only have a bite, please, only have a bite. She ate a whole one. This girl's like in the corner, fucking seeing things, and I was scared for my life. I thought it's like, oh, I'm going to jail. This girl just fucking
White girl?
Nah, Spanish. It's like
You're
going to jail.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was worried. I thought like she like lost her mind from that, but she's good now.
That's wild.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, that can happen.
That.
Like I talked
Just
to
from weed.
I talked to a girl at a wedding the other day that was like, she's a psychiatrist that works specifically with mentally ill people, like schizophrenia and shit like that. And she was like, yeah, obviously people that have underlying co-founders for schizophrenia, if they do too much weed, they can like induce schizophrenia. They can like get early onset Alzheimer's, shit like that. But she's like, there's been a lot of cases through her research that she's like, there's even people with no underlying factors that don't have any family history of mental illness that just like chronic weed use from a young age will have like early onset Alzheimer's and shit like that.
I'm very happy because I know how addictive my personality is, so I'm very happy I didn't do it until I was older.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, now I can do this in a regulated way.
I mean, it really is crazy. Like,
Once or twice a month.
Have you read those things? Like, if you haven't smoked weed or like if you haven't smoked a cigarette by the time you're like 21, your odds of being addicted to it are like 5% or some shit.
Really?
Like, it's extremely low. Even if like you smoke later. Like, for whatever reason, I feel like there's like an addiction window. That if you do some shit from like 15 to like 22, 23, like your propensity to get addicted
You're a
is
retard.
higher.
You're just really a stupid person until you're about 30.
I think it meant me personally.
No, just all of us.
was
You're
like,
just really fucking dumb.
Push that
you're
at
about 30
Alex.
years
Don't
old.
call me a retard.
30 is when
I was like, come on.
Let me be a retard.
No, Al retard his whole life. That's tested.
Yeah.
Tested. Theory tested. Done.
Started smoking weed at
Yeah.
13.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, come on. It's weed-induced retards.
I believe that, actually.
Wait, why did you smoke when you were 13?
What do you think?
But it's just like around?
This is my
But
environment.
I've seen you smoke weed now, and you get so antisocial. And
Yeah,
it's
I know.
like, is that what you did when you were 13?
Nah, I think I used to actually enjoy it back in the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, now it's like completely opposite effect. I don't like smoking at all.
Interesting.
It's like doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
But
Al's
I'm-
unlikable when he's intoxicated.
What?
You're just like kind of surly.
no.
Maybe
When
I
he's
saw
when he's
you
drinking,
high.
Al, I'm the best.
Maybe I seen you high and not drunk.
I admit that's the best.
But there's an inflection point. There's an inflection point when you're tipsy. It's great.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then when you get
Maybe-
drunk, it
maybe
gets
that's it.
a little wild.
Oh, then it's fun for me. yeah, maybe not everybody.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But yeah.
Tipsy is fun for everyone.
Yes.
Drunk is fun for me.
If we rank the drunks, it's got to be Miles first.
Yeah, Miles is.
Oh man, but he just needs 3 beers and he's there. Like
Yeah.
3 beers, he's fucking Shane Gillis. That shit is crazy.
He's feeling himself.
Yeah.
He's feeling
Yo,
himself.
we can get you the
funniest
Bud Light
person.
sponsorship, I think.
I wish,
Bro.
dude.
If they showed before and after videos of your personality before and after,
It's PED.
alcoholism seems so fire.
Yeah. It's a performance enhancing drug.
Yeah,
big
yeah,
time.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Him too.